So I'm really excited to have all of you here today. And how many of you are ready to help cook? Raise your hand. All right. We're going to be doing cooking today. And why we're doing this is I really think it's really important to get to cook with really good foods. Because when you cook with really good foods, you know what they are. And it makes you more likely to like those foods, right?
Yes.
So if you look up here on the screen, this is some cooking classes that we do with the school that Teachers College has called the Teachers College Community School. And so you can see there's a boy there squeezing some lemon into some herb. And that little girl up on the top that has her hands like this, she did that because she wanted to show me how much she likes all the food that she cooks. So hopefully you guys will like it too. What we're doing today is really special. What season is this right now? Who can tell me what season it is?
Spring.
It's spring, right.
The time to plant.
It's the time to plant things, right? And what came just before spring? Who can tell me that? Not fall. And then after fall was what, Ellie? Winter. So I'm going to tell you about the really, really special vegetables that we have here today that you can look at right over there. And then I have photos up on the screen. These are greens that have a very special name. Are you ready? They are called overwinter. So the word over and the season winter. And what they are they were planted in the fall before the winter, before the soil got frozen, and they grew really slowly over the winter. And then once the days started to get longer, you probably all remember when it got lighter longer, right? Like it would be light in the evening and it got a little bit warmer, they would start to grow. And then they all got harvested right now, and Rachel can hold up some of them. And because they grew so slow over the winter and then got to grow once spring came, they're really sweet. And so they're going to be really, really delicious to me. So what we're going to also put in them are right up here. We have some fresh new garlic. And this is garlic that just started growing. So we're going to use that and some shallots. And so there's the pictures of them, and we're going to put those with the greens, and they're going to add a lot of good flavor. And just to show you the names of the greens that we have, is we have bok choy, and that's the one that Rachel just held up. And then we have some red Russian kale, and some Swiss chard. And then we have some broccoli rabe, and that's the one that has the yellow flowers on it. So we're going to cook all of those today and some other things. So let me tell you about the other things we're going to cook. We're also going to make a salad with apples. Now these are New York State apples, and there's all different kinds of apples in here that are really good. We're going to use these apple cutters right here to cut them up, and then whoever's working on this is going to use these knives, and I'm going to show you how to use them in a minute, and you're going to cut them into pieces. You already know. Good. And then we have something here. Can you smell this and tell me what it smells like? Does it smell like anything? You want to smell it? Tell me what it smells like.
Basil.
It smells a little like basil. If you think it smells like basil, Maliki, you try. It is kind of like basil.
Mint?
It's mint. So we're going to rip up the mint into little pieces and mix it in with the apples and put a little bit of honey. And the honey is going to do two things. How does honey taste? Who can tell me?
Sweet.
Sweet. And you know what else it does?
It's crunchy.
It is a little crunchy. It has a little flavor. It also is one way to keep the apples from getting brown. So if we put a little bit of honey and toss it in, it will help keep the apples from getting brown. So it's going to be a really fresh apple minty salad with just a little bit of honey. And then what else we're going to do is we have some fresh or some New York cheese. So somebody can cut up this cheese into little squares so everybody can have some cheese. And then we're going to make some tofu. And this tofu is actually from Connecticut, which is pretty close to here, right? And what we're going to do is make a sauce with this too. And it has, in the sauce, it has a little bit of honey, some rice vinegar, some sunflower butter, and some soy sauce, okay? And a little bit of the garlic that you can cut up really small for this. So we're going to make that sauce. We're going to cook the tofu over there. and we're gonna cook the greens. Once this stuff gets moved, we're gonna cook the greens on this stove right here. And then we have 2 more things that we made for you that took too long to cook, so we made them before you guys came. First, we have some rice that's in here that we'll take out and put in a bowl later on. And then we have some black beans. And these black beans were grown up by Ithaca, New York, so they're local beans, and they're in here, and they're nice and hot. So we have lots of good food. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, there's just one. Malachi.
How does the rice stay hot in the rice cooker?
You know why? It's plugged in, and there's a little button pushed on it, and in a minute you can go over and look. It says keep warm, and it's keeping it warm. Okay, so now there's a few other really important things to do before we get started cooking that you would always have to do before you cook. Does anybody know? Wash your hands. Good. And so I just want to review with everybody what we do when we wash our hands. We learned today, maybe you heard today, that the happy birthday song started at Teachers College, right? So what you want to do is sing the happy birthday song twice when you wash your hands. And you want to rub this way, and you want to rub the tops, and you want to rub between your fingers so you get all the different places on your hands.
Or you can just count.
What? Or you can just count to 20 slow. I don't want anybody going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm done. Right? No, none of that, right? So you want to count to 20 slow, or sing happy birthday twice, or the ABCs. Any one of those will work. And then I want you to think, once your hands are clean, you have to think that they're really clean. And then if you touch your face, or you go down on the floor, and you pick up something, whatever, what do you do with them? Wash your hands again. So you can go up to the sink and wash your hands again, okay? Now I want to show you with these knives how to use them, which is really important. So these knives are great because they're big and they're kind of like real knives, but they're not really sharp. However, you could still actually get cut on them if you're not careful. So whatever you're holding and you're cutting, you want to hold like a bear. So can everybody make your hands like this? So that's called the bear hold. And if you do that and you're holding it, then look, as you're cutting with the knife, then you have this flat part here, so it's not going to cut the tip of your finger. Okay, so if you hold like the bear. The other important thing with these knives, you might have seen, how many of you have ever watched a cooking show on TV? Some people, okay. So you might have seen that they do this, right? These knives don't work like that. These knives, you have to saw. Okay, so if you're cutting the apple slices or the tofu or the greens with these, you have to saw like this, okay? So you're holding it and you're sawing like this. All right? Any questions? All right, before we get up and wash our hands, what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what every table is going to do. So, this table is all grown-ups. We can mix up too. Why don't we have 3 tables so maybe you guys can move over here. Why don't we have this table be the greens table, and we'll have to add a few other people to it. And then this table, you guys can be the apples, so you can do all of the apples with these cutters, and then cut them with the knives, and also rip up the mint into little tiny pieces. And if you want, one of you can really do a good thing and take some mint around to everybody, so everybody can try a mint leaf if they want, okay? And then this table over here, you guys are going to cut up the tofu, and you can make the sauce that goes with it. And I want to tell you all, I have the recipes up here, so I'll put it up that you can see what we're doing. So there's the wintered over greens, which are really just some sesame oil, the greens, garlic, onions, which we're using shallots today, and then a little bit of soy sauce at the end. You're all going to get these recipes. I have a whole bunch of them right in here. I just didn't want them to get dirty while we were cooking. So before you go, you can all take a recipe. And then the tofu with the sun sauce, there's all the ingredients there. I'll also make sure for you guys following the recipe for that you have it so you can have it to make the sauce. We are doing 4 pounds of tofu, so that means all of the sauce ingredients, which are the water, the sunflower butter, soy sauce, rice vinegar, honey, and lemon. You need to do 4 times all of those, okay? And then the apple mint salad is actually super easy, and we're just doing it with all those apples and all the mint we have there and a little bit of honey, and we'll mix it up and we'll make it. Any questions? Okay, why don't let's make sure that there's soap by every sink.
Is there paper towels?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, so why don't we have this table line up over here by my chain. Come wash your hands and remember really well. And then the table over there, if you want to come wash your hands at this sink. And there's step stools for anybody who needs help reaching it. If you don't need help, just push it to the side. And then Laura, what did you
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
You still have your bear claws? Yes. Help start cooking some of the stuff that is cut up? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Story. Oh, I started putting cut in there too. We're making winter,
After you
right?
did this, were you amazed at what you were eating? Is that what you were eating?
Are we gonna try these?
One bunch of green this is, I think, one tablespoon of soy sauce, so maybe a little bit more. I would say like 3. We'll taste it and see what we have. Oh, here, you know what? Yeah. Yeah.
I have the recipe.
Yeah.